Jesse Zausmer, my backer at ABC, the man who hired me, in '66 was killed in a plane crash. I was getting my shots for Vietnam. I know the day because I was at the Public Health Service getting a yellow fever shot, and that was the day his plane crashed near Japan. So here I was about going off to Vietnam when there was a major shakeup at ABC, so nobody was looking after my pieces that I was sending back from Vietnam. Aside from the fact that it was horrible that he got killed, Bill Sheehan was coming in as vice president. It was a lot of turmoil. So a lot of my stuff didn't get on the evening news when I was in Vietnam, which really made me angry when I came back and found out. I did get a couple of major stories that I covered in Vietnam on the weekend news, because I happened to be in Da Nang when there were some big Buddhist demonstrations, and I got those. But most of the time, everything I shot was on my afternoon newscast. Well, it was Jesse who came into my studio in '66, and at the time, all correspondents were being rotated to Vietnam, and they decided that their anchors, big deal anchors, me and Peter, would go, but not for long because we couldn't be replaced. They didn't want him to be away too long because that was evening news, and here I was, sole woman. They couldn't spare me very long, but anyway, so Jesse came in to the studio one day after my newscast, and he said, now I want you to think about this. He said, would you be willing to go to Vietnam for a few weeks? He said, don't answer me now. Go home, talk it over with your husband, see what you think, and get back to me. So I came home, and I said to Jerry, he asked me to go, and he said, you want to go? I said, of course I want to go. Of course I want to go. It's the story. It's the story. This is the major story. I got to go. So he said, yeah, well, and we had help, we had a full-time housekeeper. My son was 6 at that point. And it wouldn't have, I wasn't going to be gone that long. So that's how that decision was made. I had story selection. I could do whatever I wanted. And I tended to do social issue stories, orphans, hospitals. I did a lot on troops, on how they set up a camp, how they set up a laundry for thousands, how they set up food facilities, what the hospitals were like. I did a lot of the Da Nang Surgical Hospital for civilians. I did the Montagnards, the tribe out in the middle of nowhere. I did a lot of stories on relocation of Vietnamese to other areas that we were doing at the time, to clear out areas so that they could go into the tunnels and, bomb out everybody. So I didn't do combat. I was against the war from the beginning. I thought it was a terrible mistake. But, it was never one of blaming the troops. Troops, these were good guys. And also there was a draft. And in '68, I had covered a lot of draft stories, tons. At Columbia University, I practically lived at Columbia with the anti-war demonstrations in '68. That was later. But '66, before I went, there were plenty of demonstrations going on then. No, I wasn't sympathetic to the war at all, but I did want to cover it.